Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on introducing our new mobile app, iBwave iBwave Mobile Survey. My name is Kelly, and I am joined here by Jamal, our sales engineer and product owner at iBwave, and he's going to be giving a demo of the new product. Jamal, if you could just jump the slide ahead a couple to the housekeeping items.
Yes, hello everyone. Jamal Ramul here, sales engineer, product owner for enterprise. I'm happy to show you today this new iBwave mobile survey. I'm excited to show you that and hope you guys will enjoy this webinar.
Just before we get started, just so everyone knows that we're going to be recording the webinar, so everyone will get a copy of it directly after the webinar is ended. You'll notice that we have the chat box here on the right, so feel free to interact both with us and each other by using the chat. Introduce yourselves, let us know where you're from. We're always happy to hear from you, and you can ask your questions actually in the questions tab. That'll just help us keep us separate from the chat. We'll do our best to get to all of your questions during the webinar, and if not, we'll get back to you after the webinar, and I'll do my best to respond directly in the chat as well. So that's it. We have a couple polls for you as we go as well, just to see how we're doing. But from here, I'm going to hand it over to Jamal to get started.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. So I'd like you to meet our new mobile survey, this new Android app that we just launched recently. We want something that is simple and easy to use to survey mainly private network, for example, where you need to do like CBRS plus Wi-Fi or any LTE network plus Wi-Fi, or maybe you just want to do cellular only. So before, this app was called iBwave Mobile Note. Maybe some of you were already using Mobile Note, so nothing is changing concerning what Mobile Note was doing before. We only added the possibility to do survey. So we added the Wi-Fi capability of Mobile Planner and Wi-Fi Mobile. And what we did is we included cellular. So if you need to do cellular, whatever phone is capable to capture, you can do it. Again, this is not the capability of a scanner, for example. It's just basic data that the phone can collect, whatever the phone is connected to. So just some context. We know it that many of our customers, they have like challenge surveying Wi-Fi and cellular together. If you do cellular, most of you might already know that the best tool to use is a scanner. If you do Wi-Fi, maybe there are other tools out there, but if you want both and you want something easy to do and you have many sites to do, then there's nothing like really simple to use. It might be a combination of different tools. So sometimes it's expensive to have like third-party testing tools, and whatever is required to do that might not be the best way to do it. Then you would need to collaborate between different party involved. Maybe you want to have the LTE coverage tested or surveyed, and you need to rely on a third party to come and do that, or maybe the carrier itself. It may take time. And then if you ever have any scanning capabilities, it's not something that anybody could use. You need to know how to use a scanner, and it's not something you could deploy everywhere compared to a software you install on your phone. And the challenge is that you want to survey different technology, right? Most use case here we're talking about is just Wi-Fi and cellular survey and just evaluating the coverage. So this is why we brought the iBwave Mobile Survey. It's kind of an upgrade to iBwave Mobile Note. We renamed it Mobile Survey since now we added 2 modules to do the collection. So we added the Wi-Fi that was existing on Planner and on Wi-Fi Mobile, and we added cellular, whatever the phone is seeing. And we added also the interpolation. So one thing that most of maybe you guys or some of our customers like is this possibility to actually visualize the survey as a heat map, and we added the interpolation module. The licensing is flexible, so it's a software, so it's not attached to any hardware. You install it. If you want to use another phone, you transfer the license. You save it either on your phone or on the cloud or on Unity, and then you have it on the iBwave design, or you could use the free viewer version to review that data and apply some filtering, generate reports. The technologies supported for now are the Wi-Fi, all technologies, and LTE, 3G, and 2G. So 3G is mainly UMTS HSPA. 2G, we're talking GSM Edge. And then we can look into other technology in the future. The band obviously are the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. We don't have any 6 gigahertz device for Wi-Fi for now, and we don't have any APs supporting 6 gigahertz to be able to test that. So that's something we're going to look in the future. And then the cellular bands, that really depends on whatever the phone is capable of or seeing or connected to. So usually is one band. The KPIs for Wi-Fi are the one that we already do for Planner on Wi-Fi mobile, RSSI, CCI, and the throughput for active survey. And then for the cellular one, if we're talking LTE, for example, it's the main KPIs you're looking for: RSSI, RSRP, RSIQ, SINAR. So that's what we are getting from the Android API. And obviously, we keep this integration with third-party collection tools. So just to be clear here, we're not competing with any third-party collection tool. It's basic data. There is no capability of locking to a specific channel or a specific PCI. You would still need to use an advanced solution for that. This is just a basic high-level survey if you want. It's still getting the same capability of capturing and sharing site documentation. Could put push pin, take pictures, annotation, document your venue on your floor plan. Take other than picture, you could do text, voice, video, and then they are geolocated with the push pin on the floor plan, and then they're easily shareable via the cloud or Unity, or even you could save the mobile file into your device and share it manually, like via USB cable, or share it with any other sharing platform. So the goal here is to make it easy to collaborate with the team and the customer. So somebody who is on site doing the survey, it's easy to just use any Android device, complete the survey, share it, and then somebody who's on the office could analyze that and apply whatever survey results to the design or to the optimization, or to validate that the installation was correctly. So different scenario, right? Depending if it's pre-installation or post-installation, or maybe troubleshooting. So at least something you could deploy easily. Any like field guys or IT personnel or technician that are constantly on site, they could perform a survey quickly with just the software installed on their device. And then you have this high level. And then if you need more advanced troubleshooting, then you might need advanced hardware, right? And we have the iBwave viewer, which is a read-only version that the customers could use. Any person that does not have necessarily iBwave design or the desktop version installed on their PC, they could install the free viewer and review that data, so they could see if the coverage is good, meeting their need, and also they could generate reports. And those reports could also send to the installation team to say, okay, we need to change this, or we need to do this, or we need to install this here and stuff. So, and at the end, you could redo your validation survey quickly and see if everything is as expected. So do we have any questions so far before we jump to the demo?
No, I think we're good, Jamal.
Okay. So this is my phone. Just make it full screen here. And this is basically what I'm getting. This is the app itself. If you're familiar with Mobile Note or Mobile Planner or iBwave Mobile Wi-Fi, it's no different. You get your settings here where you connect to the cloud or to Unity, and you could set which country, which unit you want to use. And then you have this big plus sign here to add a project. So the circle on the top, let me use my stylus here for a second. So you have this red circle on the top, on the bottom right bottom, where you could create a new project, open from the server or cloud, or open any project that is assigned to you or you created is on the cloud. So here I just want to show you an example where you create a new project from scratch. So you click new project and you name it whatever you want, let's say demo. And you create a project, and then you would need to create a floor plan. But before that, maybe you want to put some properties of that project. If there's any ID, any address, any contact information, take a picture of the building, for example, if you're on site. And then the plans, you use the same thing here. You have this plus red circle on the bottom right corner. Click on it, and then you have three options. You could take a picture for a printed floor plan or a fire exit plan, or anything you have on site. You could select a picture that's saved on the phone, for example. You downloaded the floor plans. Or you can create a plan from scratch and sketch up something if there is nothing, right? If there's nothing available. The ideal situation is that you have a floor plan. So here, for example, if I take maybe this iBwave office floor plan and then I use it, then what I need to do is to scale it. So I take this ruler here, hold tap on it, put it here, and then select the scale. Then here's my floor plan in scale. And now I could start walking. Let's say I am here. Let's say this is the entrance somewhere here, right? And I want to start my survey. So I have the basic information here. Maybe some of you are already familiar with what was before on mobile node. So you have the push pins to put annotation. You have markup to put any markup on the floor plan, modeling if you want to add, let's say, walls or hallways, and you have cable routes to identify where cables can be installed, or conduits or any cable tray. And then what we added is this new survey tab. So you would see that you could create a new survey, define an interpolation area, run the interpolation, and you have this set up to review whatever survey was captured. We still have this share iBwave to any third-party collection tool, so nothing changed here if you're still using any app connected to a scanner, for example, or something. So here, if I click on the survey, if you do that the first time, it might ask you to allow something to run, and then it will give you a warning that if you're using Android 10, you need to deactivate the Wi-Fi scan throttle. So Google introduced that in Android 9, and then they added the option to deactivate it in Android 10. So if you want to do Wi-Fi in Android 9, it might be complicated, but Android 10, you just need to deactivate that and you'll see that warning. So for me, it's already deactivated. Then if I click on it, I'll see this new UI where it will ask me what kind of survey I want to do. So here it's a passive survey. We still have the active survey for Wi-Fi only. Technically, if you have, let's say, a CBRS network, a private LTE network, and your phone is connected to the same network, it might work, but we haven't tested that. But for now, it's only tested for Wi-Fi. Then for passive, you have the option to select cellular, Wi-Fi, or both, and then you have to stop and go and continuous. Note that the continuous is not yet working for cellular or both, it's only working for Wi-Fi. And we will add that soon. So if I want to do both, I create. And let's say I'm walking here, I'm at the entrance, and I start collecting data. And then it's scanning all the Wi-Fi channels. It's scanning whatever LTE network I'm connected to. And it turns green, meaning it's finished scanning. Then every, 3-5 steps, I'm walking and it's connecting. And I have this like net scan tool here. It's telling me this is the APs I am seeing, and this is the channel RSSI. And it's telling me this is the LTE cell I'm connected to. This is the RSSI, RSRP, RSIQ. This is the cell ID and the PCI. And I keep walking, and you see if I'm walking too fast, it's telling me, please let me finish. And then let's say I am here, and this room in front of me is, let's say, the equipment room, right? So I get inside, and then I need to take a picture, for example. So I could pause here and go back, and then take a push pin, let's say somewhere here. And then let's say this is our main equipment room, right? Then create a picture. Maybe I take a picture here. And then on that picture, I could draw on top of it and say, okay, we're gonna put, I don't know, a rack here somewhere. Let's say put it red, put a rack here, right? And then I need to put whatever, some server here, or a switch or whatever. And then I could add an arrow. Let's say this is the cabling. It's gonna go from here to here and then go on whatever, on the roof here or something, or on the cable tray here, right? And then I save it, and I have the option to take a video, audio, or text, right? And just take any text here. And then what I could do is add as many push pin as I want and document, add any pictures and stuff. Once I'm done, I could go back and resume my server here. And now I could continue and go out from this room and keep walking, and could do all the corridors, enter rooms if I can, whatever, what I want to capture. Obviously, the more data I capture, the better. Once I'm done, I hit this check mark here on the top right corner, and now I have my data captured. So here it started doing interpolation by default, and you see it's only limited to the area I collected, and you see here's the interpolation activated. I could deactivate, reactivate, and I see that I have my Wi-Fi here. This is the 2.4, and you see captured 2.4, 5 gigahertz, and 2100 AWS LTE. And then for the Wi-Fi, I could filter whatever SSID, whatever channel I want to see, whatever RSSI, CCI, or throughput. But that was already existing for a mobile planner and Wi-Fi mobile if you are an iBwave mobile user. But in LTE, this is the new thing. Now we added this NTE, and you see that I have the 2100. I was connected on channel 2050, connected on this PCI. This is my RSSI map. This is my RSRP map. This is the RSRQ, and this is the signer map. And if I click on any point, if I zoom in here and click on any point here, I would see the data captured on that specific point. So the carrier I was connected to was Rogers. I see also like what is the band and stuff like that. I see the MCC MNC, the TAC, BID, cell ID, PCI. Not all phones report channel bandwidth, but this can be easily calculated. We might add a formula here. If you use RSSI, RSRP, and RSRQ, I think there's a formula to calculate the channel bandwidth. This is the downlink and uplink channel. Obviously, RSSI, RSRP, RSRQ, and signer. And some phones will report CQI. The phone I'm using here does not. And if you're doing, well, this will probably add it in the future. If you do any speed test or active survey, it will show you the uplink and downlink throughput. And one thing new is this percentage. So you see here it's showing me the coverage. So this is the signer. If I go to RSRP, for example, it's showing me the RSRP values. So I have 19% that are higher than neg 95. And it's, well, it should be failing here, but I could modify the compliance and rerun the interpolation. And then it should tell me if it's passing or failing depending on the criteria. And so everything here you see is new, did not exist even in Planner and Wi-Fi. So we added this percentage for the survey data legend, we added the compliance criteria, and we added this interpolation area. So if I want to focus only on this area, because my customer is only using this part of this floor, and the rest is another company, for example, then once I rerun, then the percentage is different. Now it's 98% instead of 19%. So this is what the interpolation area is for. And I could do my survey, and obviously when I'm done, I can go back, save it to the cloud. So I have the cloud button here to save it to either iBwave Cloud or to Unity. And then I have the summary here. So if I click on the summary, it will generate a report for me. It will create a title page. I could add the floor plans, annotation, survey map. So the survey maps, I could select, I want the Wi-Fi, I want the LTE. For now, it's only showing RSSI. We're going to add other KPIs later. But basically, it will run and actually generate a PDF that you could use. give me a second here. Let me just regenerate that. Yeah. And then here's your cover page. If you took any picture of the building, it will show here any information of the building. Here's the floor plan. Here's the pushpin. The pushpin number 1 and the pushpin number 1. We had this picture with this drawing. And then this is the interpolation for 2.4 RSSI, 5 gigahertz, the Wi-Fi. And then this is the RSSI for the LTE 2100 on the AWS band. Obviously, this will be improved to have better reporting. So that's basically what we've done, what we've added. But if you're still using any third-party collection tool, if you're using a scanner, for example, or something, I have a sample file here where a scanner data was imported. So before, if you're using mobile note and you import any data from a scanner, for example, or any third-party collection tool, you will only be able to see points like this, right? And then you could click on any point and see what the data inside those points, right? Oops, what happened here? Sorry. So, and you see it using a scanner, I have different bands on different technologies. So the new thing is that using mobile survey, you'll be able to generate interpolation. So it's showing me the coverage with using heat maps instead of just points, right? And then I could filter, I want to see this channel or this channel, I want to see this PCI or this PCI, right? And I could see where is the coverage. I could switch between maps. And you also have this percentage on the legend, and then if it's passing or failing, depending on your coverage area. So that's what we've done so far for mobile survey. Any question?
So Jamal, we do have some questions for sure. So let's think our way through some. I've tried to answer some myself in the chat, but will the cellular scan only collect data from the band or technology that the device is currently attached to, or will it scan for all technologies?
I didn't get that question.
The question is, will the cellular scan just the band that it's attached to, or will it do more?
For now, it's only scanning whatever band is connected to, yes. We might explore other options in the future, but depending on what the Android API will allow it to do.
Okay. Another question is, for CellDAS, can you collect all bands, i.e. 600 to 3.5, and can you do throughput tests, DL and UL?
So the bands depends on the phone capabilities, right? So if the phone is capable of doing 3.5, yes, you would be able to collect data on the 3.5. There is no band limitation. It's the phone itself or the Android device if it's a tablet. What this phone is capable to connect to and which carrier you're connected to. If it's a CBRS, then obviously it would have to be on 3.5. If it's a carrier, depending which carrier you're connected to, what band is offered on the area or the building you are in. So it all depends, but there is no limitation in terms of what bands we support. It's just the hardware limitation. Now, in terms of throughput, uplink and downlink, it is possible to do active survey for Wi-Fi, uplink and downlink. It will record that. Now, for cellular, since the active survey, you have to be on the same network. We weren't able to test that functionality. We would need, let's say, a private LTE network connected to the same LAN network. Theoretically, it should work, but we can't guarantee it will work. In the future, maybe we can explore any throughput test capabilities to test actually your internet connection and not your link connection. So it's two different things.
Okay. One popular question we got, and I did answer it, but I'll just ask it here so everyone hears, is the ability to survey 5G. You can answer that for everyone, maybe, Jamal.
Yeah, so we started with the legacy technologies, and 5G we're gonna probably add that soon. I can't give a timeline, but maybe by the end of the year or early next year, we will add 5G too.
Does the data show the band PCI ear FCN information for the active cell signal?
Yes, they will show you whatever cell you're connected to, what is the channel number, so ERFCN. Will show the downlink, the uplink, and what's the PCR connected to. If you're talking about the neighbors, I'm not sure we could do that on all the phones. We would need to explore what other neighbors you could capture.
Okay. What Android device is suggested to use with iBwave survey? Is there a list of UE minimum requirements?
Yeah, so we recommend to use Android 10 or higher. So far, we've tested some Samsung devices. It seems to work well. We do not recommend anything lower than Android 10. All our mobile application work starting from Android 6. The limitation here is that in Android 9, like I said, they removed the Wi-Fi scan capabilities. Google limited that like 4 scan per 2 minutes or something, and it's impacting the Wi-Fi scanning capabilities in Android 9. And this is Google limitation. So this is why Android 9 is not recommended if you're doing Wi-Fi. Now, if you're doing cellular, why Android 10 and not 9 or lower? Because many KPIs are not available in Android 9 or 8 or 7. If you want all the KPIs, the best is to use Android 10. For example, RSSI is not available in Android 9 device. It will show you RSRP. Doesn't matter if you're scanning RSSI, it will show you RSRP twice, like in RSRP KPI and the RSSI, because that's what the API is returning. If you're doing like HSPA or 3G, the ECNO is not available. The SINAR also is not available, or sometimes is not refreshing. So this is why the improvement that was added in Android 10 make it the one we support right now. So if you want to use lower than that, it might work, but we can't guarantee you get everything. Even in Android 10, some device, they didn't implement all the KPIs that the API offers. And you saw with my phone, it's an Android 10, and I still can't get the CQI, and I'm not getting the channel bandwidth. So it's device by device. We have a list to recommend in our website, the device we tested, and they work great.
Is it possible to adjust the strength of the interpolation, for example, only 2 to 3 meters beside the walking path? Otherwise, rooms or areas with good signal will be displayed with good signal on the heat map, which you have not entered.
Yeah, so in mobile, you cannot do that. It's by default, I don't remember exactly, maybe it's 5 or 10 meters. But if you want more accuracy, then you need more points, because it will consider adjacent points. So if you have an area with weak coverage and you have no points in that area, and then the interpolation from something like a room next to it or the corridor next to it with good coverage, yes, the interpolation will bleed and show like there is good coverage there, but inside this room, it might not be a good coverage. That's a challenge. So either define an interpolation area and you say, okay, don't consider this area because I don't have data, or you have to go get the data inside this area.
Okay. A popular question here. Is there an option for band locking?
For what?
Band locking, which is supported by some Android phones. Yeah.
Well, technically you would need like something like third-party collection tool offers with like a rooted phone where you could lock whatever you want to lock. Some Samsung devices, they have like engineering mode where you could put some codes and then you could lock on a specific band. You could Google that and check. There are some codes you could use, but it's not possible to do it from the app itself. You could do it manually.
Thank you. Can you force the app or the phone to do specific band, i.e. at 700 LTE or 2100 LTE only?
Yeah, that's the same concept, right? If it's a band locking, right? So you need to do it manually.
Okay. Is there a mode that you can send a semi-skilled technician to do a walk test and then interpolate the data later?
Yes, of course. The interpolation is a module. You don't have to have that interpolation, and you don't have to run it on the phone. You could save the data, and somebody else could run the interpolation. once imported in design, you could actually run interpolation as a heat map. So go back to the question about an area with weak coverage. If you import the survey data in a floor plan, and the floor plan has all the walls modeled, and you run the interpolation heat map and not the survey data interpolation, so the interpolation heat map will take the survey data values, consider it as like a signal source, and apply the calculation based on the environment. If there is a thick wall, a concrete wall, then technically the coverage should not bleed behind that wall. And it will do that calculation and show you have weak coverage in this room based on the coverage we got from the corridor, for example. So yes, you could still do the interpolation in other mobile app or in desktop.
Okay. I think, Jamal, you have slides in here that show all of the CellDAS KPIs that you can collect. James is interested in seeing it if we could show it, looking for a list of all of the KPIs.
Yeah, we can go through the slides. Do you have other question, or we could
I hear a lot popping up in the chat here. Let's go over to this tab. Do you have the capability of removing PCI and rerunning interpolation?
Removing PCI?
Removing PCI and rerun interpolation.
Not sure to get that. So in mobile, you cannot technically edit any data points. Okay. In Design Enterprise, you could play with the data points, but I don't know why you want to remove the PCI. You could select all the PCI and we do interpolation regardless. If you want to filter by PCI, you could filter. I want to only see this particular PCI. Okay. But removing it, you would have to export the data into like CSV, edit it, remove the PCI you want to remove, and then import it back. I don't see any other way to do it.
Okay. One question here from Henry. I'm not sure if I missed it, but do you support the 3.5 gigahertz CBRS band and 800 megahertz CBRS?
Yes. So like I said before, it depends on the phone. If a phone is CBRS capable and supports 3.5, and you have a SIM card that is connected to that 3.5 network, whatever CBRS or private LTE, or then yes, it will scan it. If you have an 800 megahertz phone, capable phone, and your SIM card is connected to a network that is on that 800 megahertz, yes, it will scan it.
Okay, I've gotten questions about an iOS version. So I know the answer to that, Jamal, but I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, unfortunately, iOS does not have such API like the Android one. I don't know if somebody could lobby within Apple to open a little bit their software so we could do something with it, but no, they don't allow anything.
Okay. And then a couple questions around getting data for multiple bands. So I'll just say the app is mostly designed so when this situation when you need to collect Wi-Fi along with one other, for example, for CBRS, but we do still integrate with third-party scanning tools where if you need to collect multiple carriers, then you can do that. Just to clarify that. All right, and then last question around interpolation. Are you planning to add the possibility to change the strength of the interpolation?
Change the strength of the interpolation. I'm not sure. So the interpolation has like an area. It will be like 5 or 10 meters. I'm not sure exactly the value, so it's not really. It's like a distance, I would say, not strength.
Yeah.
So just making the points bigger, and then try to consider whatever point is adjacent to it, and it's using like a formula based on the VPLE we have, the VPLE prediction engine. That's what is used for the interpolation. If you really want something accurate and play with the values and stuff like that, you would need to go to the design version, the desktop version. You can't do it in mobile.
Okay. And is it passive and active survey or active only?
Well, both. Passive right now for cellular. passive and active for Wi-Fi. And like I said, the active might work for cellular if you have the active survey server on the same LAN network than your private LTE network. We haven't tested that, so I can't guarantee it would work, but technically it should work. And in the future, maybe we will look into doing some throughput test of your whatever LTE connection, but it's not available now.
Okay. Okay, I think I've covered a majority of the questions we've got here. I tried my best. So do you want to continue on, Jamel? And then we can try to get to some more.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what's the benefit of doing that. Why customers, why surveying Wi-Fi and cellular together? Why not just using a scanner or just keep doing whatever we are doing right now or in the past, right? So we have an interesting case study for an airport, and you could see why there is a need to do Wi-Fi and cellular together. So this is an airport, right? And the main concern for this airline in this airport is to reduce the delays, right? So something that is critical for airlines is to have the flights on time. Any delays is costly, right? And what can you control to reduce that delays? Anything that causes a delays, right? So this use case was mainly regarding luggage or baggage scanning, right? So if you check in your luggage or baggage and they go to be transported to the airplane, they go through different steps and they go like whatever into conveyor belt, and they need to be scanned at each step, right? And same thing if you go in the gate and then you go inside the jet bridge and maybe you have to check in your carry-on, and they need to be scanned and then drop down to the airplane and then put inside the airplane, right? So the scanners, they either connect to Wi-Fi or cellular, so they need to report back the tag, right? The scanning, and Wi-Fi usually airlines, they have no control. It's the airport who's controlling the Wi-Fi network, and we all know that Wi-Fi inside airport is not great. You could put the airlines, they put their own Wi-Fi network, but it's still, there's a lot of interference from the public airport Wi-Fi. So what the baggage handlers, people handling, what they do is they turn off the Wi-Fi and they connect to the cellular, because cellular is usually more reliable. But the problem is that cellular coverage may not be available everywhere. Carriers will put DAS inside public spaces, right, where people are there, but not maybe in the underground conveyor belts, and so you might not get good coverage there. And maybe your outdoor and the tower is blocked by the airplane itself, right? You don't get good coverage. So how can you assess the coverage for both Wi-Fi and cellular? Where do I get good Wi-Fi coverage? Where do I get good cellular coverage? And usually the survey was done twice, right? One for Wi-Fi using a Wi-Fi only tool, and one for cellular. And in this case, you rely on the carrier to come and do a survey and then tell you, oh, we need to improve this or do this or implement a DAS or something. And it's taking time, right? It's I think in this case, it was like 6 months or something before you get an answer from the carrier itself. So in the meantime, you're still getting delays because the scanners were not able to connect in certain conditions. So what we wanted to help, and in this case, we wanted to allow the airlines to better control and manage their wireless network, right? So they will start with creating a baseline, checking what is the Wi-Fi coverage, what is the cellular coverage, where do I have good coverage or not, where do I have interference or not, like do I have high CCI, can I change the channels? But still, right, you're limited in what you can do. But at least if I could visualize that network, isolate the problem, I could try to think of a solution, right? And then if I take control of surveying the cellular, then I don't have to rely on third party to do it. So while I'm doing the Wi-Fi survey, why not doing the cellular with it, right? And then I get both on one walk. And then I could assess the survey and then suggest a solution or take ownership of that solution, maybe put a booster or something. And this is what the outcome is to reduce flight delays, right? And you control your Wi-Fi and cellular network, even if it's not your own cellular network, but at least you could do like something like booster, something approved by FCC, something you could buy from Best Buy or Costco, and just improve the coverage in that critical hotspot, let's say, just next to the jet bridge where the airplane is blocking the cell tower signal outside, and then just improving in some areas where instead of waiting for the carrier to offer a solution. So, and maybe it's a patch fix, but it's good enough to reduce the delays, and it's a lot of money saved here. So instead, if we compare here, instead of spending days to do multiple surveys or relying on the third party to do it, then you reduce that with a few hours to just go and document the venue. And then maybe if it's a big airport, maybe it takes 3 days in this case to complete and propose a design. And then your final reports are generated within the same day, like for 8 hours after analyzing the survey, and compared to this long time, right? And the solution is basically this, using the mobile app, right, to do the survey, having the iBwave design to do the analysis of the survey, to do the 3D modeling, to do any design, to improve the coverage. And you have Unity to manage all the airports where they have troubles or they need to access the network. So having this will help them to keep the documentation and the survey in a central location, have this reporting and analysis and like data mining, and somebody who would have visibility of what's happening, right? So if the management want to see which airport we've done, which one is missing, and also for any improvement in the future, any as-built documentation, all on the same location and for both technology. Any questions so far, Kelly?
Yeah, there's a couple of them here. If surveying with different phone models, does it produce different results, and how will different readings from the different devices be normalized? It's useful to know if looking back at historical surveys.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So usually, if you ever took like any CWNP class in terms of designing and having like or surveying, it's always recommended to use the least capable, most important device. And I'm just gonna grab this use case here about this airline and just show you the report that we generated. And so in this use case, this was the San Francisco airport, and the scanner used is a Zebra scanner. So you would want a device that has the same capabilities, right? If you want to do a survey. So basically you want to see exactly what this device is seeing, right? With the same sensitivity, right? If this device has a good antenna gain, then you should get this device with the same antenna gain or the same capabilities, right? This device support those bands on LTE, so you want to scan those bands, right? And once you establish your baseline, you always survey with the same device, so you don't see any fluctuation in terms of difference, because let's face it, a tablet or a phone, they don't have the same sensitivity, they don't have the same antennas, they don't have the same gain. In Wi-Fi, for example, switching between phone and a laptop, you may see like 20 dB delta, so it's huge, right? And this is why it's always good to establish a baseline, and I'm gonna always survey with this device so I could compare, right? And so the idea here on this use case is that, okay, so the scanner is this device. It's connected to the Verizon network if there is no Wi-Fi. And the band are band 2, 4, or 5, which are supported by this device. So if I do a survey, right? And I see that this band 5 here, I don't get great coverage for RSRP. So if I'm outside, I'm okay. So this is the outdoor. I get 90%, right? Better than the neg 105 dBm RSRP. But inside, you see I have like 54%. So on this band, I have like weak coverage, right? And I could see it. I could see that this blue or cold colors. So if this is the heat map, right? Hot means good coverage, cold means weak coverage. But I could identify that I have problem here, right? And if I have like the conveyor belts here, and I'm trying to use the cellular because the Wi-Fi is not great, then I will not be able to connect, or maybe the connection is not great, right? And if you check the other bands, then you see that there's good coverage because you could identify that there's a DAS here, right? It's hot. So you could use that for validate the DAS installation. So the idea is that after doing the survey and identifying that I have a band that it's having weak coverage, what we could do is propose something like this, like a booster. In this example, it's just one brand. There are many brands out there. And you take a booster that could amplify the bands we want, install them, so you could do a design and have them on the floor that is lacking coverage, right? And at the end, you could run prediction and you see, okay, now I could improve the coverage for this specific band. And then you install them, and then you could have like a 3D modeling of the airport, right? You could model the airplanes and see the coverage, right? Outdoor, indoor. And at the end, you could generate a bill of material, and you know exactly what you need. If you have the cost, you could generate the cost. So that's basically the use case. It's just a sample file we did here with one airline in the San Francisco airports. So if we go back to the question, yes, there are different devices you could use, and it is always recommended to establish one device and keep working with it. That the least capable, most important device. What is that device?
Okay, great. So we're coming up to the end of our webinar. Really great participation. Thanks to everyone. One question I've been getting is around licensing and availability. So Jamal, you have this last slide. Maybe you can go over quickly just how it's offered. And then we do have a poll for you guys if you can stick around. So.
Yes, so in terms of licensing, the iBwave mobile survey itself, so it's Android based, like I said. So the license is based on serial number. There's no hardware required, whatever Android device you use. It is, it has two models. So you have the base, which is basically the old mobile node you had. No survey possible except with third-party collection tool, no interpolation possible. And then we have two modules that one is the internal collection module to do the survey for Wi-Fi or cellular or both on the same module, and then the interpolation module to see the heat map based on the data. So the interpolation module can work independently from the collection module because you could still use third-party collection tool and import the data, let's say from a scanner, for example, and run the interpolation and see the heat map. So it's two modules that work separately. And the same as the question before, do I need to run the interpolation on the mobile app? No, you don't need to. You could just have the collection module, collect the data, and then maybe you don't need the interpolation, or you want the interpolation happen on the desktop. So since it's no hardware required, it's based on serial number, it's easy to transfer. It's single license, so one user, one hardware at a time, and you don't need any rooted Android device for it. So this go back to the question about band lock-in and channel lock-in, and so those usually you need a rooted phone to be able to do it and implement it.
So a question here about demo trial program, which is a nice segue into the end, which is we do offer a free trial that will automatically be downloaded to your phone. So I'm actually just going to send out the link here in the chat, and everybody will have it, but you'll also get it in the email that is going to be sent out to you with the recording right after this. We also have, it's available online in our iBwave store, so if you're curious about the pricing, you can just go to our iBwave website and all of the information is right there for you. I think that's it. I think we've gotten to most of the questions. I hope we did. I'm sorry if we missed anybody. We hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm just going to put up a poll here. We have 2 questions, if you guys don't mind. We first want to know what should we focus on next for this. So we have our base. I'm just going to publish this. If you guys could let us know where you think we should focus next. It should have popped up there. Does everyone see it? Yeah. A lot of people wanting the 5G.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the point. It makes sense, yeah.
All right. And yeah, we can leave it at that one. So thanks, everyone. I see people logging off, so it seems like a good time to wrap it up. I know we're already 5 minutes over. So thanks again to everyone who joined. Really appreciate your attention and participation. All really great questions. And let us know if you have any more and if you need any more information. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys. If you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me. Please, we could connect on LinkedIn or Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions if we missed some of them. And let's keep in touch. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.